It's a very interesting one.
24 hours.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Zera Shimshon's live.
Okay, so let's go, boys. You ready?
Surprises and good times ahead. Please go.
All right, so we're going to start. Now, by the way, you have to realize the whole parasha is about what? It was about being kadosh, about being holy. Now, being holy is not easy, Shlomo. Being holy is very difficult. Being holy requires you to change who you are. Your teva, your natural instinct is going to be not to be, is not aleph, is not to be holy. Why? Because being holy means abstinence. What is abstinence? Holding back from what is actually allowed to me. Not forget about the things that's not allowed to me. Even instead of eating a whole sandwich, I just eat half. Why? Just because my body doesn't need the whole. It needs the half to keep moving.
Have a steak with the whole cow.
Have a half a steak. Forget about it. Baba Sali didn't eat meat for 50 years. Because why was he a vegetarian? He ate on Shabbat. Why?
And by the Zera Shimshon too.
If he was here. But what?
I mean, he ate on Shabbat, but did he eat meat on Shabbat?
Pretty sure he ate meat. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I feel like he did. Because but he won't eat a lot. He won't have a full plate. He still would have a very small plate. So being kadosh, doing things to be kadosh is very hard. Okay, it's like a very hard diet. Okay, the Baba Sali, since we mentioned him, was his uncle Rav Yitzhak Abu Hatzera, who we had the Hilulah in our house. Remember, whoever was there with all the bottles of Arak and all that. Remember? He was very impressed with his stamina. The Baba Sali was very impressed with his stamina. Why? He came to him in a dream. His father, the Avid Yaakov. Actually, you have Rabbi Yaakov on top. He had 3 sons. The Arizal came to him in a dream and said, "You have to have one more son, and he's going to have my nitzots." Wow. And that was who? Rabbi Yitzhak Abu Hatzera. Who wrote the song Aufa Eshkona? Whoever knows that song.
Yes.
He wrote it. And so that was his uncle, and he was just so amazed with his stamina to keep, to be kadosh and to do everything. It's just an amazing thing. So that's the God willing, the Abu Hatzera trait. So we're gonna start talking about being kadosh. We have a midrash that says Kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani, right? It's like the first pasuk. It's the first. You can shut it.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, it's gonna be hard. 'Cause it's on the back. So now the question is, what does it mean? Kedoshim tiyu, be kadosh, right? Why be kadosh? Ki kadosh ani, because I am kadosh. Okay. So now the midrash starts. The midrash says, "Im makdishim atem atzmechem." If you're gonna sanctify yourselves, ma'aleh ani alechem ki'ilu kidashtem oti. I'm gonna make it as if you made me holy. Like if you make yourself holy, I'm gonna make it as if you made me holy. God says. So then the Midrash continues, says, or maybe it means something else. Or maybe it means, im kidashtem oti, right? Hareni mekudash. If you mekadesh me, if you sanctify me, I will be considered kadosh. Ve'im lav, and if you do not sanctify me, I will not be kadosh. Your job of a Jew is to mekadesh Shem Shamayim in this world. So now, what happens if the person doesn't do it? So is his name mekudash or not? Is his name holy in this world or not? So the Midrash is giving you 2 options. So how do we understand the pasuk Kedoshim tiyu, ki kadosh ani? Be kadosh because I am kadosh. Does it mean that if you make me kadosh, then I will be kadosh and I'll make it as if you made me kadosh? Or am I if you make me kadosh, I'm kadosh, and if not, I'm not.
But this is definitely not the shot of the thing, because kadosh, ki kadosh ani is I'm presently.
Right. So you have to, it's very important, it's a very good point you're bringing up, because it's important to discuss. Right. When you talk, kadosh means, it's, Muvdal, right. No, but the whole kind of, how do you get holy like that, Yosef, how do you get holy like that? By separating yourself from the physicality of the world. That's how you get kadosh. By not enjoying the physical aspects of the world. Yeah, but you could do it with less. Right. So the question is how much you can eat. You can eat just enough to have. No, but that's the thing. What do you mean? That's the case. Do you need to eat those chips right now?
I'm eating
because you're eating, because they're next. Right, but that's my point. But that's my point. My point is, but the person is always focused on God, and therefore he's always going to do just enough to take from this physical world in order to maintain himself, so he can move on, learn more Torah, get closer to God, and that's it. Yeah.
Rabbi Weinberg used to say that what is Kedusha
anything's moved on, which is separated for higher purpose, gets filled with the manifestation of Hashem's presence.
Shekhinah, yeah.
So you got Eretz
I don't know,
Yisrael,
move the vent.
you have to fill in, you've got Shabbat, those things are separated, not just separated, but with the kavanah for higher purpose. But Hashem himself is Kodesh, so I'm not understanding.
So this is the Midrash is setting you up. The Midrash is setting you up. So you have to understand there's never going to be one way to look at something. No, don't do that. That's going to point it down maybe. The down. So go down to the couch.
It'll come to you now.
No, it's too high. It's going to, switch it up. So the Midrash is setting you up. Why? Because there's not one thing that the Torah is trying to teach you at any given point. Right? You could explain anything many, many different ways. Okay? So he's explaining, if you want to make yourself kadosh, right, then I'm going to make it as if you made me kadosh, or should I read it as if you're going to make me kadosh, I will be kadosh, and if not, I will not be kadosh.
Meaning his kedusha is dependent on us.
Just move the vent, Shlomo, move the vent. What are you talking about? No, flip it the other way. Flip it the other way. Hey, boys. Wow, look at that. Look at that. He bears gifts. No, the other way. Yeah, like that. Right, there you go. Right, he bears gifts. Moshe, you lost weight. You got very skinny. You shot up?
The matzahs.
The matzahs? All right, we just started. We're going to start again. So look, the Midrash says, Kedoshim tiyu be kadosh, because I am kadosh. Ki kadosh ani. Okay? Kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani. Ma'ali ani alechem ki ilu kidashtem. If you mekadesh yourselves, if you make yourselves holy, I will make it as if you made me holy. Or, can you read the pasuk? By saying, if you make yourself holy, great, I'll be mekadosh, I'll be kadosh. But if you don't, then I will not be kadosh at all. So I can look at it both ways. So we say Talmud Lomad. So again, this is all the Midrash. Midrash says Talmud Lomad, ki kadosh ani, because I am kadosh, meaning biktushati ani, I am kadosh regardless. Okay? Ben makdishim, ben she'ena makdishim. I am kadosh regardless. I don't need your approval. I don't need your help. Regardless if you mekadesh my name in the world, I am kadosh. Now, what comes is very interesting. Abbas Shaul comes, who, by the way, his yortzeit was a couple of days ago. Abbas Shaul's in the Gemara. Abbas Shaul, one of the rabbis in the Gemara. He says, Pamalya shel melech, right? The legions of God, or of a king, ma aleha lasot. What is their job? Lihyot mehakeh et hamelech. You should wait for the king. That's the Midrash. What does that mean? What does that have anything to do with being kadosh? Okay?
Mechaka, I think, is to imitate, no?
Mehakeh. I read it mehakeh.
Say imitate, or in English?
So yeah. Actually, that's a much better way to say it.
Mechaka, it is mechaka.
That's a much better way to say it.
Mechaka, to imitate.
To imitate. What is the job of the Pamalya Shemala? Is to imitate the king. So again, we have the Midrash saying we have Kedoshim tiyu, comma, ki kadoshani. What does that mean? So you can read it, Kedoshim tiyu, be kadosh because I am kadosh. What does that mean? Be kadosh because, so the Midrash says, if you make me kadosh, then I will make it as if you're the one that made me kadosh, not me. Or, one second, or, if you make me kadosh, then beauty, I'll be kadosh. If you don't make me kadosh, then fine, my name will stay the way it is in the world. So Talmud Torah, the pasuk comes to teach me, right? Ki kadoshani, I am kadosh. I am kadosh regardless if you make me kadosh or not. And then Abbas Shaul comes, the rabbi comes and says, Pamalya shemelech, right? The legions of God, what is their job to do? Their job is to imitate the king, period. What does that have anything to do with the pasuk and our discussion? How do you make God? Do you make God kadosh, or am I kadosh on my own? What does that have to do?
Here it says to await the king.
Kedoshim tiyu, ki kadosh ani. So if I'm kadosh, you should imitate me and also be.
So then, how do you explain the second part? The second part of the Midrash says, if you make me kadosh, then fine. If not, then no.
Right. So that's the midrash. Abba Shaul is coming and saying.
But the Midrash answers Talmud Lomad that I am kadosh regardless of you.
Right.
I'm kadosh regardless of you. So what do I need you for?
Right.
I don't need you. I'm doing this for you.
Hashem doesn't need us to do kavanas for us.
No, he does it for right. We do it for us. We're his children. Right. It's all for us. So, but then the question. We have a few questions. Why? First of all, how do you understand the Midrash? And two is what is Abbas Shaul coming to add by explaining that your job is to imitate the king? Let's leave it like that. There's a Zohar in Parashat Tetzaveh, okay, that says when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created man, he created with something that's called Bidyonka Illa'ah, which more than that. His Evarim, if you look at the Zohar, the Evarim all hint to the Eset Sefirot. If you ever look at like all the pictures, you have Chokhmah, Binah, you have Dat, you have everything is corresponding to another limb of a body.
I think the Patach Eliyahu says that.
Sure,
When you say
sure.
the Patach Eliyahu.
Yes. Say yes.
Right?
Yeah, it's hot. All right, you're gonna have to maneuver that. We need to put the vent here this way. So sit over here, maybe it'll be better. I don't know. But move the vent here. It's too hot. Okay. So, but look what he says. Look what the Zohar says. The Zohar says that Hashem made us with the Yokna Ila'ah. Okay, the Yokna is what? How do you explain that? Is the image? Is the image Ila'ah, which is what? Which is the Eset Sefirot? Right. So what else does the Zohar say? It says he blew in Ruach Kadisha. He blew in a Holy Spirit, which is comprised of three things. What are the three things? Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama. Not Neran Hai, just Nahai. Just Naran. Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama. The first three parts. The Ela Mikula, and the one that's highest of all of them is the Neshama. This is all the Zohar. Now, what? No, on these three things that are in us, okay, which we're going to explain, is, so out of the three, Hashem blew into us a Ruach Kadisha, and it's comprised of three things. Ruach, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, and the highest one of all of them is called Neshama. Good. Ve'i hahi nishmata kadisha a'el la be'fulhana ahara. Right, so what is it?
If it goes off the track,
Right, very good. Then they all go. If the one goes, they all go. Look what it says. Right.
Becomes tameh and goes off the path of Hashem.
Right.
They're all
Right.
one.
They're all one. Very good. They're bundled. So if one goes off, with specifically the neshama, then you could mitameh everything.
It translates it so beautifully.
How does he say it?
Depart from the service of its master.
Right. If you change your way, your job. Look, you are not a free man. Let's make that very clear. We just transferred ownership. Right. By the way, more than one way. God forbid we open our mouths. If you go to the side of the tum'ah, it's going to ruin all three parts. Good? Make sense? Yeah. You have three parts, split into three, but they're really one. So, and this is the Zohar. The Zohar says, he brings a pasuk in Mishleh, Holech et hachamim yahkam. One that goes towards smart will become, towards the smart people, to hachamim will become smarter. Vero'eh chesilim yeroa. But if the guy goes and wants to hang out with ro'eh means like to be a shepherd for the fools, then the guy's gonna get worse. So you are who your people around you is who you are. So if you want to be smart, you want to be a hakam, you want to be siddiq for sure. That's mishleh, lesson for life. If you want to be a tzaddik, hang out with tzaddikim. Do not expect to be a tzaddik if you hang out with the guys on the block, because that ain't gonna work.
That's why we come here.
That's why. Now, the guys on the block. Okay, but let me worry about myself. You're allowed to be selfish when it comes to being kadosh. You're allowed to be selfish when it comes to learning Torah also. It's mutad. You're allowed to be selfish with these. If I have a havruta that I'm not jiving with, I'm allowed to say, okay, it's not working out, and find another one. You don't have to worry about his feelings. I mean, you worry about his feelings, but it should not stop you from finding, because he's not going to stand up for you during Yom Adin. So take that home with you. Now, so that's okay. Right, so now we have the Ramaz. Right. You don't show up for a month. They come in. This is what you get.
No. I am breaking up with you.
Right. So now the Ramaz comes in the name of the Zohar, and he says, how is it possible for a person to mitameh his neshama? His neshama comes from God. Helik Elohim. How can it be that his helik, that his neshama, could not withstand any tamenis that he might come in contact with? It's part of God. How is it possible that the tumah can have such influence over something that's so spiritual? So therefore the Zohar comes and gives the understanding, the reason why it's possible to be mitameh the tumah. mitameh the neshama. The question is, the Zohar brings a point and says, you're split into three. Right, neshama shelatat tabi teora. The neshama that you put in me, that you blew in me, is tahor, which is true. You know, the Rebbe told me once. The Rebbe told me, he goes, you could cover up, but it's inside. The Rebbe told me once. He goes, you know, Shaul, you're pure. I go, Rebbe, I love you, but I'm not pure. I go, I'm sorry. He goes, what are you talking about? You're pure. You say it every day. It says, Elohai neshama shelatat tabi tehora. You're tahor. So you understand?
Which Rebbe?
Pittsburgh Rebbe.
There's beautiful pictures there, by the way.
Which ones?
Is the old Rebbe and the new Rebbe?
Yeah. So now, so the Ramah says, how is it possible you could think that the neshama itself could become tameh? So he brings that. He says that's why the Zohar brings the pasuk of how, because the nefesh and the ruach and the neshama come together, and they become a single unit between all three. They come three separate parts. The neshama comes first, then comes the ruach and the nefesh, into the body. Now, once they're in the body, they all become one. Ve'im ken kevan shenivgema nefesh. Now that if a person does something wrong and he gives a pagam on his nefesh, because nefesh corresponds to this world, because the bad is more than the good, because you're in the world of Asiyah, which is this world, and by doing that, you now have a pagam on your ruach and your neshama. And that's why we bring the pasuk. He's explaining why he brings the pasuk, and that's why he brings the pasuk. Holech et hachamim yachkam, veroech chesidim yeroa. So the people that go according to again that why, because when you have all these three in you, now it does become one. Now the fact that it does become one, if you mess up,
is companioned with
yes,
the
yes,
it itself gets
yes, but it works both ways.
Or,
that's why it says, right? If you want to be good, then go good, right? Holech el hachamim, a guy that goes towards the hachamim, yekam, you're going to become smart, you become more of a hacham. Why? Just because you're going to be surrounded by the right people.
If we make sure our nefesh is good,
then your neshama and your ruach will be good, very good. Okay. And if not, then you're going to mess up your neshama.
Because you'll be with the ksilim.
Right.
It all goes on the asiyah.
It all goes on the asiyah.
We only have control on asiyah.
I only got what I got. So then, right? It's amazing. So now, so now that the neshama is a helik, right? And what does the neshama do? It's perfect. What is it? Mashpia. How do you say mashpia in English? I'm losing my English.
Go back and look.
Yeah, well, great. Thanks a lot. Great idea, genius. How do you say mashpia? Who knows? No one knows. Mashpia means influence. Very nice. Influence is a good word. But more than influence. Because it's mashpia or it gives emanates. Emanates is a good word. It emanates light. Where does it emanate light to, Yoni? It emanates light to ruach and the nefesh, right? Shemishtatefim ima, that's associated with it, and that's holech et hakamim. The person where it says holech et hakamim, the guy that goes with the hakamim, it's talking about that's your neshama. If you go towards where your neshama wants to go, and if not, you're going to go to ekesilim. Then that's you're giving into your ta'avot for your nefesh, and it's going to in turn ruin your ruach and your neshama. So you get to choose. You want to go the right way, you're going to be, mitahed yourself and grow. You want to go the wrong way, it ain't going to go right. You know what I mean? That's for them. And now he brings another Zohar. This is amazing. This is beautiful. It says,
God's not stopping you. Like if that's what
what?
you need, God's not stopping you. Like it says, like a burglar can pray to Hashem.
Right, and Hashem will answer. Sure.
Whatever direction we want to go.
It's true. Whatever direction you want to go, Hashem will let you go in. Which is true. So by the way, here's another proof. By the way, we're going to give you another proof that the neshama comes from God. The Zohar brings bat kohen. This concept of bat kohen, right? A bat kohen who marries an outsider. So the Zohar says, what's this bat kohen? Not just bat kohen, regular daughter of a kohen. It's the neshama. Very nice, very nice. It's the neshama, right? Because what's the neshama? Because right, but what is what is the neshama? The neshama is the product of the union between the malka and the matronita, right? Is the princess, is the queen. You have Shekhinah as the queen, and you have Hakadosh Baruch Hu is the zachar. And you have another proof. You have Parshat Ki Tetzeh that also says what? That the neshama comes from the matronita, that comes from the princess. Okay? We also know Parashat Tzav, Zohar says you have multiple places multiple places showing you that the neshama comes from God specifically. So there's two things we know right now, to sum it up, to get where we are. The first is the neshama is part of Hashem. The Selim Elohim that you have is the neshama that comes from Hashem. Yes, agreed.
That's part of the Kedoshim to you?
Yes, well, no, hold on. I'll review in a second, okay? The second thing is the nefesh, the ruach, and the neshama are all interconnected. Neshama does, it emanates influence on whatever the nefesh does will emanate influence on the other two. So two things. One, yes, it's from God. Neshama is from God. Two is the ruach, the neshama, and the nefesh, ruach, and neshama are all interconnected. We start right. So look, there's things you have to understand. We have the midrash that says Kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani. Right? Be kadosh because I'm kadosh. What does that mean? Midrash starts. It says, if you want, how do we understand this pasuk? Kedoshim tiyu. If you want to say be kadosh, if you become kadosh, then I'm gonna make it as if you made me kadosh. Or can I look at it, or can I read it? Make me kadosh. If I am not kadosh, then fine, mutav, I'm not kadosh. But if you make me kadosh, then beauty. Then I'll be kadosh to the world. So Talmud Lomad, then the pasuk comes and says, ki kadosh ani, because I am kadosh, which means irrelevant of what you do in this world, I am kadosh regardless. Okay, and then comes Abba Shaul from the Gemara. Abba Shaul, which I said it was his yard side a couple of days ago. He says, what is the job of the legion of the king? To imitate the king. Ad kan l'shono. That's the thing. So what is first of all, what does Abba Shaul have anything to do? And how do you understand this? How could you think that you could mess up a part of God? If the neshama, if you want to be, wait 1 second. No, the real question is on Abba Shaul. And then we break it down. Then we broke it down. We brought multiple sources in the Zohar, right? Tetzaveh. We found in, I think it's Aharet. No, it's not. I think it's Behad, and I think it's also in Sav and other places that explains that the neshama comes from Hakadosh Baruch Hu and the Shekhinah. That's not the same, but that's the part of God. Okay, which means it's pure. We also learned that they're interconnected. They have that all three of them come separate, but when he blows it into you, it all becomes one, like guacamole. You know what I mean? Sandwich did. Yes.
An attempt at an answer. Just like we know that there's
Coke.
a reality of justice in Olam Haba, we don't see it in this world. Hashem is definitely Olam Haba. Outside this world, he's Kaddish. But when we do mitzvot, we just like making the Kaddish, and we bring that.
So it's true. Agreed. 100%. But the Midrash is saying that regardless if you do it or not, I'm Kadosh.
I know, but I'm saying that's what I'm saying. It's like when we were coming Nation Torah as beginners, your argument was: is there justice or no justice? Is there emet or is there no emet? In Shemayim, there's emet. The job of a Jew
to bring out the emet.
Like Kadosh Baruch Hu is emes, he's kadosh. But you don't see it in this world. When we're kadosh, we bring that godliness in this world. We reflect it.
Well, we're gonna see it soon.
So it becomes apparent. His godliness, his greatness, his kedusha, his holiness, which is always
so I'll tell you something.
Relevant in this world.
Agreed. I agree with you.
Answer it up.
The Mesilat Yesharim starts by saying that Mesilat Yesharim was written by the Ramchal. Okay, and he starts by saying, "I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know." There's not one person that does not know that Borei Olam is Borei Olam. Even the guys that say that they're not and they don't believe, deep down they know.
Otherwise,
Because there's no atheist in a foxhole, right? That saying's going around lately. Yeah.
You know Rabbi Moshe Wolfson?
I heard of him.
So, big deal. Anyway, so he says that Pintele Yid, sorry for using Yiddish, that
Spark?
particle of a Jew that every Jew has is that. He says just like the bird knows how to build a nest, or beaver knows how to build a nest
Naturally.
naturally by the birth. The same thing with the Jew. He knows that there's a Kodesh Baruch Hu. He might not be able to connect to that knowledge for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But everyone has that.
So, we say it every day. I realized that in Ubal Etzion it says, Baruch Eloheinu shebaranu lichbodo ve'ibdala amenu tefilin v'tanat Torah ben v'chayei olam nata betochenu. What does that mean? V'chayei olam nata betochenu. Shlomo, what does that mean?
Engraved.
V'chayei olam. What is the Hayei olam, first of all? It's the Torah.
Eternal life.
Eternal life. What's eternal life? Torah. Torah Kedusha. Hayolam
Parshat
nata
is-
means to be implanted. It's implanted in you. Any, huh?
Hayei Olam, the living world, is not.
No. You can look at it that way too. But Hayei Olam, the life of the world, you implanted in us before we were born. What is it? It's the Torah. So that's why you could talk to any Jew, and all of a sudden, he'll face a light up if you just tell him a say it the right way, and I guarantee you'll get a positive result.
Because we were taught, in our room, we were all taught Torah.
Because nata betochenu, he implemented, right. Okay, let's move on. Go ahead, one more, Yoni.
So Kedoshim Tihiyu really means that you already are Kadosh, and therefore it's your own standard. Meaning Kadosh Ani is a part of you as a part of
No, but he's saying be kadosh because I am kadosh.
Right.
You could make kadosh yourself more than you are. Because you are, let's say, like a pie, right? What percentage of kedusha do I have? Am I 60%, 40%, 70%, 30% on a bad day? I don't know. It depends. It depends what you're doing. It depends where your eyes. It depends what you're thinking. You want to walk with God. God doesn't walk physically. He walks spiritually. So how are you going to walk with Him spiritually? Spiritually, you need to be clean. Your thoughts have to be clean.
Well, that's a hard one for me to cross.
Well, it's for everybody. For everybody.
I
But
mean, I'm working on it, but the
so work on it.
But big wars, because the big wars in the machshava.
So you have
If you
to.
win the machshava, you already won the war.
For sure. We're gonna say that in a minute. By the way, we're gonna correspond. All right. So now understand these two things. We can understand the midrash. The two things are what? That the neshama is a helik of Elohim. Number one, and the two is the nefesh, ruach, and neshama are all intermingled, are all interconnected. And when you do one, it affects the other. And when you go to the left, it affects the right. And when you go to the right, it affects the left. Good. Now we can explain. What does it says? What does that mean? It means if you make yourself kadosh, which is what? The nefesh and the ruach. Because that's your part. Your part of God is neshama. Remember we said 3 parts. 1/3 is God. The other 2 is you.
Nefesh and Ruach is your part.
Is your section? Yeah, is my response. Is my right from God. I got to get from God. Right? These are the things that require sanctification. Your ruach and your nefesh require sanctification. So if you now partner up with your neshama, then I'm going to make it as if you mekadesh me.
Because the neshama is part of Hashem.
Yes, right.
Yukna ila
Because
Hashem.
if not, what would happen if not? You would be metamed. If you do not mekadesh it, you're going to be metamed. Because if you whatever you do with the nefesh, the neshama follows. Because it's all intertangled. It's all one.
So that goes back to the original midrash eventually about the neshama.
Who's that? Reuben Hazi, poor guy. I feel bad for you.
Husband incorporated.
There's parking later down the
We'll touch it. We'll let your family know.
Charles,
The neighbor's not there anymore.
so bold as
No,
to
my
say
wife's still there.
that
What?
Kadosh Ani, Kadosh Ani.
Boys, listen.
Can we be so bold as to say Kadosh Ani, the Ani that's speaking is the Neshama?
That what?
An
The
aspect
one,
of it,
the
sure.
one speaking, the speaker.
No, God is speaking. God is speaking. I'm giving you a helik of me. If I'm giving you a helik of me, I'm telling you, you can do this. This is what it is. You're saying I can give you a helik, and I'm giving you a helik. You could do good with it, you could do bad with it. So at the beginning of the midrash is trying to teach us something. He said the midrash is saying if you mekadesh yourself, which is what? Hainu, ruach and nefesh, then I'm going to make it as if you were good. You were mekadesh me. Remember, because that was through the neshama.
Neshama is chelek Elohim, because that's what he said.
Right.
Yukna dileila.
Very good.
The neshama is part of
Right.
Hashem. So if you do good, you're mekadeshing Hashem.
Because the neshama is mahelik. The neshama is mahelik. Even though it's kadosh on its own, even though the neshama is kadosh on its own, if you're going to overcome yourself, overpower your ta'avot, over this and over that, and you're going to fix your nefesh and your ruach, I'm going to make it as if you made me holy.
So this is the whole Parshat, Ki Kadoshani.
Everything about this parasha is being kadosh. Everything about this parasha is being kadosh.
Somewhere there that great gives back the neshama clean the way he
Yes, right, belohit, right. Let it come in as I got it
You
out.
gotta clean the neshama.
Just a little, not too
That's
much.
how we have to give the neshama back.
There's 2 other levels, there's 5 levels of Neshama, why isn't he mentioning the other 2?
So that's a good question. I didn't have a chance to look it up. I know there's a reason I've seen in many places that Naran High is more. I don't know the answer, but I know there's also the concept of just these 3 on their own. I don't know the answer, but I know. But there's an answer.
The neshama,
It's if you ask anybody that's more well versed in this, they'll answer you very quickly.
Come on, somebody from Chazal.
Chaya
All right.
Chaya,
and Yechidah.
Yahida. It's called Naran Hai. All right. So now that's option A. Option A, boys. Option A is that I mekadesh my ruach and my nefesh, right? Which in turn is going to keep the neshama holy, even though it's still holy. And because you do that, I'm going to make it as if you made me holy. Good. What's option B? Option B is if you mekadesh me, then I'm kadosh. If not, then not. Right? That was the midrash. So it says keva shenishtalehal betoch haguf, because the neshama left kiviyachol Hashem. Because remember, Hashem gave you this piece, right? You might think that it lost its own kedusha because it's lost its source. It's not connected anymore like it was before, right? What's the nafkamina between the two? That I wouldn't be responsible if I metameh my neshama so much. Your neshama is kadosh.
As though it now became a physical being.
You downgraded it. Maybe because you gave me a piece of you, God. So not that I could do what I want, but it's not going to be as pungent or potent. It's going to be much more diluted because it's not part of the source anymore.
So you can assume that it would go wrong.
So I could assume something will go wrong, and if I assume something wrong, it's not my fault.
Like the Nephilim.
Why the Nephilim? Where did you get that from?
Why are you bringing
Why are you bringing Nephilim here?
B'nai Elohim, there's
Well, they are a good example of fallen angels.
What does that have to
Well,
do?
they're
We're
completely
talking about God gave you a piece of Him, and you might think that because it's from Him, Yoni, because it's from Him, that now that He's not from Him anymore, you might assume that that the neshama is now downgraded. Like when you drive a car, and $5,000 the minute you're off the lot. You know what I mean? It gets.
That's why I talk about the Nephilim, because the Nephilim was an era where man was born out of Eden, and then eventually they had fallen from being in a graceful state.
It's heavy. I don't know. I don't know.
It's maybe heavy for him.
I don't know. Well, Tzarich Iyun.
I'm with you.
I'll look at it.
As long as you're with him.
I'm saying.
Because Torah doesn't hold you accountable.
Huh?
The Torah doesn't hold you accountable for the thoughts in your mind. They hold you accountable for the actions that you do. You can think about all the areas in the world that you
No. Relax yourself. Show your bones. No. Let me make that very clear. Your machshavot, right? So the goyim get judged as if they did it, even if they only thought about it. That's the difference. A Jew we get punished for the machshava, but we don't get punished as if we did it.
Only good things. Shabbat told
Right.
stuff.
I wanted to go to shul, but I didn't wake up because I literally was sleeping. I couldn't get up.
If you see a piece of non-kosher steak and you know it's non-kosher, you think, oh, I would love to eat that, but you don't eat it. You don't actually act on it. You don't actually do the vera.
Because there's no isur about thinking about eating taref. No, there's no isur about thinking, but there's isur about thinking about bad thoughts. What do you mean? Women, arayot. That's not. It's that the hirhur is an avera in itself.
Your wife is a good thought.
I don't know about that. We learn from Abraham about seniut. We learn from Abraham Avinu that how long were they married? Right, they're going down to Mitzrayim. Only then did they say, "Now I know how pretty you are." That's what Abraham says. Ataya dati. Very good. I only know now. Abraham only says, even when a person is with their spouse, there has to be seniut, lights off. So I'm saying, so it's not just free for all. You have to be whatever. So look, let's go back. What's option B? Option what? No, good one. So what's option B? Okay, option B. Option B is that maybe I might think I have a choice. Maybe I might think because
my body,
because-
it doesn't have the same dusha,
Right.
so maybe I'm not gonna ruin
so
the
maybe
kedusha
so no
bad.
so no
This
no
is
no
Loki, Kadosh Ani. You
no
better watch
no
out.
because no. Let me answer you. I read it a few times. Thank you. Listen to me. Listen to me.
some wine?
Let me explain, boys. Listen, please. He's saying that because now that the neshama has been departed kiviyachol from God, maybe if I metameh the neshama, it's not such a big deal. It's
Right.
not my fault.
Right.
Because it's no longer
Now he's sent down, it's in the body, it's down here.
right. It's not. Huh?
He sent it down here.
So that maybe they might think that she'en lachem kol kach onesh im tehallelu ota. Why? Because now that's a sliver of God. It kind of left Hashem and went to you, and 2/3 of you aren't so great because you're in the Olam Asiyah. So that's why there comes and answers. Nice job, Zev. Nice job. Oh, Eli. Oh, nice job, Eli. Nice job. So what's the answer? Shh, boys. I put the food on the table so you guys could choose, so I don't have to hear you. Reuven, shh, listen. So what's the answer? So he says, Ki Kadosh Ani.
No.
What does that mean? Regardless of the fact, I'm
Even
Kadosh.
though the neshama came down into the body, you might think, oh, it's
Right.
not so bad if you mess it up. No.
Ve'imani
Neshama is still
Kadosh. And if I am Kadosh, my neshama is Kadosh. Right? Why? Because it's part of me. Shehi Kedusha Mitzad Atzma. It's Kadosh on its own. So therefore this pasuk is coming to warn. I say boys. Boys, stop talking, please. I say boys all the time.
Not today.
Okay.
As the rabbi said, please don't stop eating, but please do stop talking.
Very, very polite. So the pasuk ends by saying Ki Kadosh Ani because it's a warning. Do not assume that just because the neshama is not with me, it's not kadosh. I am kadosh, and everything about me is kadosh, and I'm giving you part of my neshama. It is also kadosh. So this pasuk is a warning, right? Yesh lachem lizaher shelo livgom ota utanefa b'maasechem haraim. That be careful not to be pogem your neshama, right, or your ruach and your nefesh through. Oh, I'm sorry, ruin your neshama through ruining the nefesh of the ruach, which is the 2/3 of you. Remember, the neshama is from God. You have the ruach and the nefesh. That is part of that. That's not part of God. Kiviyachol. It's supposed to put in you. I mean, everything's part of God, but you know what I mean. But over here, the neshama davka is more concentrated. Call it part of God.
The video of the guy singing Elokei Neshama on the way to the
Yes. So and now comes Abbas. Remember Abbas show we had in the middle of nowhere. It says, "What's the legions of God of a king does? They imitate him." So what does that mean? That's exactly what it means. He comes and says, "Kia pamash." What is the job of a legion of a king? Is to do what? Is to crave and act like the king. And this is exactly what Hashem's telling us. Ki kadosh ani, I am kadosh. My neshama that you have from me is kadosh. You have to be kadosh. Don't mess up what you did before. And not only that, forget about that. You should want to act like me. You should want to act like me. Why? Because that's what the Midrash is teaching us by ending off by saying what Abba Shaul says. That what is the job of a legion of a king is to imitate the king, to want to be like the king. So to you. You have to be just like the king because you have a part of the neshama. Okay? And that's... The king wants... Hurahum atarahum.
You want to emulate
He wants you. He wants you to emulate him. Right? The Yag Midot. Tomed Devorah.
That's the 17.
That's the Talmud Lomad. That's coming to say that regardless of the way you think, I am kadosh. The question was, am I going to be kadosh? Is it going to be an issue of you having the option of being kadosh or not being kadosh? And are you going to make me kadosh or you're not going to make me kadosh? But Talmud Lomad, the pasuk is ending by saying ki kadosh ani. Regardless of how you think, I'm here to tell you that I am kadosh, and therefore the neshama that is from me is also kadosh. So I'm warning you, do not metameh it through your actions of this world.
Whether you consider yourself to be essentially tahor or not.
Regardless of what you think. Regardless of what you think, you are tahor. You have a piece of you that's your tahor. Right? And by the way, and we learned this in the Zohar also. By the way, I think we mentioned 4 Zohars tonight so far. Right? By Mishpatim it says, Vechim kol ish et bito le'ama lo tetzeh ketzet avadim. If a person sells his daughter, God forbid, which is very frowned upon, by the way. Okay, it says, right? No, it's in the Pesukim. It says it's terrible if a guy does.
no other choice.
Well, that's what he would do, but even that is wrong. Even that is
I
wrong.
only have sons, so I'm not even tempted.
You're not even tempted. Well, I'm tempted all the time, I guess. So what does the Zohar say? Huh? What? It's not it's not a suit to sell your daughter. It's frowned upon. It's not a suit. He's allowed to. It's in Mishpatim. V'chim kol ish et bito le'ama lo tetzeh. You should not send her out like right. So the Zohar says, what does that mean? It means Azriel. It's exactly what you said before. It's do not return to me return to me the way I sent you out.
Not a tainted neshama.
Right. V'chim kol ish et bito. If a guy has to sell his daughter, le'ama lo tetzeh ketzet avadim. Don't send her out like an eved. Which means,
How are you gonna clean her up after the Avot that we did? How are you gonna clean her up?
what do you mean? Baruch Hashem, I don't even know how we end up in Gehinam. How about that? Between everything that's in the Torah, Yom Kippur is mechaper, okay? Death is mechaper. It says in Shulchan Aruch that a person that puts on tefillin every day is avorot forgiven. You have Yisrin all the time between money and wife and kids and things that happen to you in life. It's God willing. It should be fine. And whenever I get nervous, I was talking to my father once. I tell Dad, I was learning something about Gog and Magog, right? And I
Come here, help me.
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I'm gonna be the one calling out. And he said, wait, my father tells me. No, stop. That's not funny. My father would tell me. I said, Dad, this stuff's crazy. Read Gog and Magog, Gamelan Sanhedrin. It's scary stuff. You know what he tell me? He goes, "What are you worried about? He's your father. What do you think he's gonna do? He's gonna do something bad to you? Don't worry. Stop worrying all the time." He tells me, he goes, "Don't worry." When I was a kid, that's what he said. Don't worry. What are you worried for? And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. He's your father.
That's conceptually what really bothered me about this particular person in German calling himself rabbi on the internet, saying all sorts of negative things, like, oh, everybody's horrible. In Judaism, there's no such thing. It's your father. He loves you, he forgives you, he wants you to.
Right.
to repent.
Right.
So
And it says
religion-
any love. It says any love without tochacha is not real love. Any love that's not with reprimanding, yes, is not real love. Because if you love somebody, you want it to be better. If you want it to be better, you have to reprimand it to get better. Huh? Everything is how you say it. Everything, by the way, is how. It depends how you feel. How about that? When you're yelling, you're allowed to yell. You're allowed to hit. By the way, I know everyone's gonna go crazy. Oh my God, don't hit your kid. But it's okay. But it depends if you're not with the fist. No, Zev, not with the fist. It depends if you're angry. If you're angry, it's going to come out wrong. If it's not angry, if it's not coming from anger, then it's discipline and it will be received in that way. It really depends on where it's coming from. That's where it starts. Huh? Good.
That still helps in this day and age?
I know it does. What do you mean? Torah says so. It doesn't expire. Yes. The answer is yes. Take it to the bank. Yes. As long as you're not angry. As long as
it's avodah zarah.
okay, but fine. But people do get angry, and we have to work on it. So I'm just saying, if you're gonna give your kid any type of Torah, do not. So that's the problem. You can't be angry. That's your problem. Being angry is a personal problem. That's not. You know. By the way, the Rambam holds the halakha l'maaseh. If you're angry and you take a plate on Shabbat and you throw it against the wall and it breaks, you're hayav. You know what you're hayav on? Boneh. Boneh. How can it be boneh? Because you lowered your anger. You released some of your anger. So it's categorized as boneh. Okay? So you have to...
Building.
Huh?
Character building.
Okay. Well, unbelievable. So now, look, we're going to explain another midrash. Boys, listen up, boys. We have a midrash that says, okay, this is very important. We say every day, okay, Kadosh, 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 Hashem Shevakot Melo Kol Haaretz Kevodo. Okay? What do these words mean? Where did this come from? I'll tell you. No, but a good, nice swing. So he says he explains that when the Malachim is saying Kadosh 3 times, there are 3 crowns. Actually, wait a minute. You might be right.
There you go.
You might be right. There's 3 crowns that the Malachim give to God. God puts one of them on his head, Kivyachol, and the 2 he gives to us. Shlomo, listen. And the 2 he gives to us.
So every day we get 2 crowns, you're saying?
How do we know? Because it says Ki Kadosh Ani, Kadishtem v'hitem Kedoshim. By Hashem it only says Kadosh once, but by us, Reuven, it says it twice. It said, the Pasuk says, Ki Kadosh Ani, v'hiktashtem v'hitem Kedoshim. So regarding us, it says Kadosh twice, but regarding God, it says it once. Okay, and that's insane. How could that be? How could God give us more than how could the king give out more than it doesn't make any sense. So, but according to the way we're explaining it, it makes perfect sense. Your job, like we said, the neshama is from God. You have the ruach and the nefesh, and you have a choice. You want to let the neshama run the show, or you want to let your nefesh run the show. If your nefesh runs the show, it's going to give a pegam to the ruach and give a pegam to the neshama. If you want to let the neshama take over, then beauty. Then you're going to metaher the neshama, the ruach and the nefesh. So now, look what it says. Shebemalachim, with angels, we only find with them a ruach. We only find they only have a ruach. Why? It says, right, the Rambam says, right, it gives, there's matter, there's, so we have matter and form. Yetzirah, surah, right.
Surah and Chomer.
Surah and Homer. So what do they have? The Malachim just have surah.
Right.
Okay? So over here, the Malachim just have ruach. Okay? And it's Oseh Melachav Ruhot. Homer is like us, like physical, like
Kashmir.
like we're from the Afar, we're stuff.
Tangible.
We're tangible.
So what, the angels, they...
Angels.
What does it mean? They don't have
They don't have a form. They have a shape.
No, they have a
They don't have they don't have matter. They don't have substance.
It's just like light. Oh.
I never saw one, but yeah. Inshallah, I hope so. But right. Right, you do see it. By the way, you see it sometimes on a person. You see it sometimes. You do see it. So it could be. But that's not a malach. A malach is just ruach. He just has ruach. By the way, you cannot see, not that ruach is to this, but I'm just saying, wind, you can't see wind. You see the effects of wind. If you looked at a desert with nothing out there and the wind was going AWOL, you'd never know the difference.
Yeah.
You don't see it.
You
feel it. You don't see the wind itself. So it's interesting. Then
What you said, we're higher than the malachim because we have the neshama that don't.
when we metaken ourselves, then yes. When we fix ourselves, we are higher than the malachim. Yes, 100%. But at the same time, you have the potential to be higher than the malach. The malach, it's not a fair question. It's not a fair fight because the malach doesn't have doesn't have yitzhara.
Doesn't have full choice, yeah.
So there's nothing to. The Gemara talks about the malachim were talking bad about Bnei Yisrael. So Hashem said, "Okay, great. Let's send you down. See how you do." So they're like, "All right, let's go." Two of them came down. Where they go? Straight bed znut. Right away. They went straight there. Was it? No, I don't think so. Yeah, they went straight there. So you can't. So meaning the malachim don't. That's why you don't ask for a test. By the way, they ask. They can't ask for. You don't ask for a test. Shh.
I think we get enough of that asking.
Yeah, true. So now let's go. The malachim, we see they only have ruchot. How do we know? You have pasuk Tehillim, oseh malachav ruchot. Mikol makom. But however, in any event, when they come into this world, olam asiyah, right? They dress up as people. We know. By the way, right? Why are you here? Right. By the way, I have a big Torah on that. Even if you're in the army, you still got to learn Torah, and you learn it from Yeshua. Because he came and he says, Yahayab mitah, for two things. One is that you stop Bnei Yisrael from doing Perah V'Ribiyah one night. And the second thing is because they're not learning Torah because everybody was tired. Which means that, and then what Yeshua do? He got up and started learning Torah. To show you that what? That even if you're in the army, you got to learn Torah.
What was the first one?
Perah V'Ribiyah.
What's that?
It's right, Perurvu. So when the Malachim come down, they dress up in the form of a man. Right? And it's written many places in the Zohar. Right? You have Parshat Vayera and different places. But in Parshat Vayera it says that Be'shata de nahati le'alma, when they come down, mit labeshin ba'avirin ubisodeh de galmin. They enwrap themselves in physical form and they appear as humans.
But never as women, only as men.
Everything. I don't know.
Where did you see that?
No, you say because I said no. I think just no. It's just stop. No, we know. By the way, hello. Excuse me. There's a Gemara. I don't know. I think it's a Baba Metzia. I'm not sure. That the Samech Mem, right, the Satan, dressed up as a woman.
Yeah, but that's not, he's not a malach.
It is about Malach HaMavet. Is the Satan? Who has Satan? Who Malach HaMavet? It's all the same thing. Lamed Taf.
I'm not going to say the whole name.
No. Right.
Get who?
Don't bring nothing into my house.
Who did he do get dressed as a woman?
Rabbi Akiva.
Oh, that's right. And that's when he punked out his eyes.
No, that's another one. That's the same Gemara. Yeah, that's the Sakkal rabbi, by the way. The Sakkal family rabbi. I'll tell you, the Sakkal family rabbi is Rav Matya ben Harash. Rav Matya ben Harash. Why? Because he has segula. Whoever has eye problems, go pray by his keved. Okay, his keved is in the north somewhere in an Arab town, which I took my parents at night and we drove there together on a mountain.
In Arab town.
An Arab town, we didn't know. We were just like,
We have
so I'm like, whatever. My father, thank God, my parents were with me, so thank God I felt better. So listen to what happened. Rabbi Matya ben Harash, listen. The Malach HaMavet says, goes to Hashem and says, Ben Harash, Mahu. Sadiq Gamur, Hashem says. He goes, can I test him? So he goes, sure, go ahead.
Sounds like a yoke.
So now, right, a few places, right. So he goes down, and the Satan dresses up as a woman. He comes down, now Harash looks, and he sees the woman, he turns over. He looks over there, he sees her again. Turns around again, sees her again. He goes, okay, now I know something's up. He tells his shamush, his gabai, he tells him, go get me a coal with a stick on it. A stick with a coal. So he said, okay, coal. Right, Halim. He takes it, you know what he does with it? Psh, puts it in his own eyes. The Malach HaMavet got so freaked out, he ran back to Hashem and said, what was that? What just happened? Because he doesn't want to be tested. He didn't want to be tested. The eye sees and the hands do. That's the way it works. You got to watch your eyes. Whatever it is, the Torah version is the mind thinks it, the eyes want it. There you go. Right, Pirkei Avot. Very good. So now, just because we're on Rabbi Matya ben Harash, what did he do? He tells him, he sends the Fa'el to go heal him. And he sees the Fa'el, because you're talking to a guy that's willing to do that. You talk about Kadosh, Yosef. This guy's Kadosh, a guy that's on that type of level, that's not willing to be tested, is willing to poke his eyeballs out with coal. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, right? You asked the question. So now,
it's not really all that complicated.
One second. Yes, agreed.
I want to hear the end of the story.
You really do. He sends the Fa'el, and he tells the Fa'el, no, I don't want you to heal me. So Raphael goes back to Hashem and says, he told me no, he doesn't want. He goes, tell him that I won't. He goes. Rabbi ben Harash said, he comes back a second time, and he says, only if you promise that I'm not going to be tested again. And he goes back to Hashem. Hashem says, fine, and he heals him. The second story, I think you have a story about Rabbi Meir, and you have Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva, Satan shows up as a woman. And he tells her, this is, if it's not written, it can't be said. Understood? If it's not in the Gemara, it cannot be said. Rabbi Akiva says, how much? Rabbi Akiva. She goes, I want that dekel on top of that tree. So Rabbi Akiva says, fine. He climbs up the tree, then the Satan reveals himself that he's the Satan. Now Rabbi Akiva is on top of this tree, pulling this thing, figuring it's going to be payment. And he sees that Satan. And the Satan says, the only reason why you're not Oved is because Hashem said I can't touch you. But otherwise, I would have made you go through it.
Otherwise you're mine.
So the answer is that yes, the Satan, can come down as a woman. To answer your question.
Other than Satan, think about it. Every person that came down was a man.
The ones that we know of, I don't know. You're right, but I don't know the answer. But the 100% they come down as a woman. We see from the Satan. Satan's Malach HaMavet.
Well, there's two aspects. There's the male and the female. There's Samich Mem and the Lamed Tav. They're two different.
Oh yeah, Lamed Tav. I got you now. Now I understand. Yeah.
I'm not saying
It's his wife's name.
Yeah.
The Satan is Samich Mem and you have the Lamed Tav.
Lo Alein Shem Shemenu.
Right. So anyway, let's go back to Azor.
Not the Lamed,
I don't want to say the name.
The Samach Taf will be
Samech Mem.
like, with the Samach Mem will be for us when Mashiach comes, like he'll switch sides.
Says Hashem shechts the
We're gonna shuck that guy who's like we can't.
Says at the end Hashem shechts the
So look, let's go back to our angels. Because there's another thing I want to do. So what do they say? So sometimes they come down as physical, but there's also malachim that are malachim of neshamot. Remember we said neshama is part of God. So there's also malachim that are part of that rule over the neshamot, and there's even malachim that are over those malachim that rule over the neshamot. Okay, and that's the pasuk in Kohelet. Ki gavoa me'al gavoa shomed. There's. You want to hear a story? So I went to. I was at the airport, and now, boys, listen, Yosef, listen. I was at the airport, and now I got platinum status on El Al. So once you're on platinum status, so now great. That's what I thought, right? I thought that's great. I go with my friend. I got.
We don't know what it is.
Chill your bones. It ain't that great.
What is it?
Doesn't matter. So no, you got a separate line. Is really what you got. You got a separate line. So now, no, you get a separate line to check in. It's an hour. It's an hour at the airport. So now I got platinum. It's called platinum status. Look at this guy. Can I tell my story, please? Please. So I go next to somebody. So now somebody, he goes, come with me. Because he was a fellow Efrat guy, and he's also traveling. So he takes me to a different line.
And even a platinum plus.
Top platinum. So I go, what? What's this top platinum? So you know what he answers me? He goes, Charles, there's always somebody higher than you. That's what he tells me. There's always somebody higher than you. Right? Clear is on the American side. Israel don't do that. They don't play those games. But what does it mean that there's so many levels of malachim? That's what I'm trying to tell you. And so what do they do? They're crowning. What are they crowning? They're crowning God with these 3 kedushot. Remember, this parasha is all about being kadosh. This parasha is, and by the way, being kadosh is not dipping in the mikveh in an ice cold bath 50 times. No offense to people that do, but I'm just saying that doesn't make you kadosh.
What about the people that never tried it?
That doesn't make you kadosh. What makes you kadosh, my friend?
Well,
What makes you kadosh is cleansing your thoughts. No, that's why.
no, regular
You
mikveh,
shot-
but a regular mikveh.
Yeah, it's like spiritual shower.
There's a tara.
For sure,
Tara is the
100%.
first step before kedusha.
Agreed. But fasting all day long is not what's going to get you to be kadosh. These things are organic. You do them naturally. You decide naturally, I want to fast. You naturally, before you do the fast, before you become a black belt, you have to be a purple belt. And before purple, you have to be yellow. Before yellow, you got to be white. Okay? There's an order. Cleansing your thoughts are the most important thing. Cleansing your thoughts. You want the Shekhinah to walk with you? Cleanse your thoughts.
Isn't that what Torah does?
Even a guy in the 1950s said, he was no early 1950s, said, you become what you think about.
What? You become who you think about. So now wait, let me finish. 5 minutes. 5 minutes and I'm done. Okay, so look, the Elyonim. So? Oh, you're right. Okay, fair enough. So what are these 3 crowns that he's giving? The 3 crowns that he's giving is for the Nefesh, the Ruach, and the Neshama, the Sadiqim. These crowns that he does, that the Malachim are giving to God, are for the Nefesh, the Ruach, and the Neshama of specifically the Sadiqim. Why? Because the Sadiqim came here and overpowered and overcame. So they were able to make the Neshamot and their entire being Kadosh. And that's the present that you give to God.
Not only did they retain it, but they elevated it.
Right. And so what does Hashem do? The Neshama that he does, he takes himself. That's his. What does he give us? The Ruach and the Nefesh. Because now you are metaher your Ruach and your Nefesh. So he gives Shetayim Berosh Banav Keneged Nefesh Ruach Shasadikim Mekadeshim Otam. All right, and that's the sword behind the pasuk. Rak hakiseh egdal mimeka. Right, when Paro tells Yosef, only my chair will be higher than yours. That's the same thing that Hashem is telling the tzaddikim. Only my chair will be higher than yours, which means I get the neshama, the crown of the neshama, but the ruach and the nefesh that you fixed, you get to have.
Hence the platinum story.
Hence the platinum. And now the Midrash in Shmini, Parashat Shmini says, "V'hiktashtem v'hitem kedoshim ki kedosh ani." Just like I am kadosh, you should also be kadosh, right? Why? Just like I am parush, I separate. You should also be parush. That's why I don't like leaving my house. I don't want to. There's no reason for me to go out. My friend called me one time. He goes, "Do you want to go for lunch?" I go, "Why?" I go, "Why?" He goes, "Why?" I go, "What are we going to talk about? Why?" I go, we're not women. Women go for lunch. God bless them. What am I going to do? I don't want to go. No, I don't want to go out for lunch. No.
It's like
I don't
Mr.
want.
Black where he says, I don't want to hang out. Anyone tries
I
to
don't hang
force me
out.
to hang out, I don't hang out.
I don't want to. No, there's
You want
no.
some to Ellis, some to
Very good. That's a nice way to say it. So
Ruchnius to Ellis. or-
So the question is, how is it possible? You might say, how is it possible that a person could be, abstinent like God? It's a tall order. You want me to be like God? That's a tall order. That's not easy. Especially if the body itself is created with tavot, the desires. How do you expect me to be like Him? Huh? Nevesh Behamit, right. By the way, you know that you have 3 character traits like the Melachim and 3 character traits like the Behemoth. So you're 50-50 on purpose because you want to see how you do. So what's the definition of this midrash? The neshama is kadosh. The neshama is kadosh, right? Has no desire in any of the tavot gufani, right? Shehi helek eloah mimal Yosef, like you said. And the ruach that sins with hirhurim, and the nefesh that sins with maaseh, right? So what does the neshama tell the ruach and the nefesh? Don't do it. The neshama tells, don't forget, they're all kolel in one. I'm with you. Don't do it. You have the ability. You're living with me inside this guy. You can do it.
So that's kind of the higher voice as well.
Of course it's the higher voice. And he's telling, Keshem she'ani kadosh uparush, just like I am holy and I am abstinent, even from the things that I'm allowed to. Kach atem to you Kedoshim, you also have the ability to become kadosh. It's something so, by the way, no one in this room could say they're in the same place mentally that they were 5 years ago. Everyone, God willing, could say that they grew. Everybody.
Can't say you went down.
I hope not. No. Because you know why? Because this place, Efrat, is very special. Everybody that I meet here has a desire to work on themselves. So I do not believe any of my friends that I know are worse than they were 5 years ago. That's my thing.
Facts.
That's facts. Moishi, you're included. You gotta be, you understand? You gotta be honest with yourself. And we know, look, especially with our current events, we know, first of all, we know Mashiach's at our doorstep. We understand that. That's a very clear thing. You don't need to be a genius to know that one. We know that the whole world hates us. Kind of know that too.
So clearly.
But we also know,
Even America, that we forgot about.
right? And with that, we know that Hakadosh Baruch Hu has our back. We don't need the world. I was telling my Havruta in America, we learned before, right? We learned Gemara, right? And I tell him, I go, what'd you guys do to us? I told him. He goes, what do you mean? I go, Biden stopped the shipment. So he goes, better. I go, why better? He goes, because Israel shouldn't have to rely on America. Don't use it as a clutch. Figure it out on your own.
Now Hashem could be the one that saves us.
That's what's his name said. With who was the guy that went to jail, Gaf Hazid, for 7 years or something, when for the meat distributor in America.
Oh,
Rabushkin.
27 years. not
Shalom.
He was there for 27?
7. No.
No, he was there for
got
7.
drafted by Trump, but he was
After
serving.
7. But when he got the letter, yes. So he wrote. I read it somewhere. When he got, you know the story? He got hit for labor stuff, and they sent him to jail. They wanted to make an example out of him. They threw him in jail for like 30 years.
For like
Illegal workers. It was terrible, huh? I don't know why he's guilty. He don't deserve 27 years.
There were things
So-
that people did that they got under a year for. He got warnings.
Yeah, he got
Jew and
27. It's
sentenced to
crazy.
pretty much a
So
life.
what is he? So what did he? When he opened the letter, that it was his last letter of denial that the court was not allowing him his pardon. He said, he looked up. He said, "Good. Now Hashem. Now if I get out, everyone's going to say that's going to know it was only you. It was nobody else. You understand? To what you were saying before, to say there was only you. It's unbelievable."
What does it mean?
Rabushkin was in jail. He exercised everything he possibly could. Couldn't make it out.
Legally.
And then so when he got the letter with denial, he says, "Good. Now let the world know that only you're the one that's going to be. Not my lawyers, not my money, not my nothing. It's only going to be you."
That's a level of emunah.
Of course. Yes, it is a level of emunah. But we see, so that's what my Havruta was saying. My Havruta was saying, good, better that they stop the shipment. Let them rely on it. Why do they, if you have a clutch, you're going to use it. Interesting. By the way, I'm sure Israel already took the hint and we're all going to try to. I'm sure we're going to ramp up. I'm sure there's going to be some job applications at some weapon facilities coming up soon. I'm pretty sure because I'm sure we're going to have to open it. What?
No, we have in Francion, we have the Arabs of putting together
You wanna hire them?
No.
Because they already have experience?
With guns? You want to hire Arab with guns? Yosef, you get me in trouble.
the uniforms. Yeah.
Okay, go to Zion. I want to do one more. I'm going to do one more. It's going to be 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Yes. We need minyan. Everyone's staying.
We should do Alvit.
I got my kids.
How many people didn't say I'd beat? How many? You prayed?
Doesn't.
You did. I need who didn't. Raise your hand.
This is Safari.
Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6. 6 is okay. You're not Baba Zud?
Then we gotta do it now.
Okay, you got. Give me 5 minutes.
I gotta go.
Say you traffic. You gotta say traffic.
Don't
You prayed I'd beat or no? But if I do I'd beat now, then no one's gonna stay for the next shot.
Why? We're staying for the next shot anyways.
She's going on night shift. I gotta go.
Why? He's
All right, Rabbi Hanina ben Kasha אומר, עשה הקדוש ברוך הוא זכות ישראל לפיך, חיברנו תורת צור שנאמר, אדוני חפש למען סביבה יגדיל תורה ויאדיר, קדיש, and then והוא רחום. Go. Amen. It's okay, stay for beat, please, you got Amen. 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 יש ברבה מברך לעולם ולמימיות ברך ושתברך בסדר. Amen. Yelana.